It's a new year, and to celebrate that, here in the UK, we have torrential rain sweeping through to flush out the rubbish of 2022. The other good news is that the new year also sees a new America's Cup team, as the French K Challenge announced that they're up for it too. That brings the total number of challengers to 5 for the event in Barcelona in 2024. The news follows speculation last year that K Challenge owner Stefan Candler would be entering, and now, after a long wait, they're in. The team will be representing the Société Nautique de Saint-Tropez and will be led by Candler and Bruno Dubois, who has a long list of successes, including the last Volvo Ocean Race. But the pair are also the driving forces behind the France SailGP team. No sailors have yet been announced for the Cup team, but given the pool of talent that the French now have in SailGP, it would seem likely that some will come from here. The announcement comes at an interesting time. In the second part of last year, the French SailGP team turned their fortunes around with Quentin Delapierre at the helm. He would seem to be a good choice for the skipper slot in the Cup campaign. Meanwhile, here's an update on what else has been going on in the Cup world as the year came to a close. It's part of a feature that's running in the current episode of On Course, and starts by asking why the Kiwis wanted to focus on breaking the world land speed record for sail when their defence of the America's Cup is at stake. There are all kinds of reasons, not least that a project like this helps to develop design and testing processes. It can be a catalyst for free thinking. The Cup is very much about working within the constraints of class rules. Projects like this allow the team to think outside the box in another environment. It's one of the reasons that Mercedes Formula One team is working so closely with the British America's Cup team. Between motorsport and sailing, the information is flowing both ways. And then there's the issue of speed. Whether it's on the water, in the air or on land, high apparent wind speeds are converging, and there are lessons to be learned by looking at other activities. Back down at water level, there's also a very different approach this time around among the teams, especially the Brits and the Italians, who've chosen to build test boats, LEQ-12s. But it hasn't been straightforward, and the argy-bargy and mind games between teams has started already, after the British were forced to abandon part of their test programme following the ruling on an anonymous inquiry. The issue was about a test mast that Ineos were going to use to tow their LEQ-12. I'm led to believe it was kitted out with all kinds of tech that would help them simulate sailing. The trouble is that the LEQ-12s are only allowed one mast. The outcome of the dispute ruled that the test mast would have counted as that mast, which would have meant that if the Brits had used it, they wouldn't be able to step a full sailing rig in the boat. Fortunately for them, they hadn't gone sailing with it, and so all's still well. But it's a good example of how the Cup still challenges interpretations and how fine the line is between playing nicely and getting into a fight. The anonymous reporting and interpretation process is nothing particularly new and can sometimes reveal the areas that teams are thinking. The definition of stored energy was one example. Flight control systems on the AC-72 foiling cats was another, as was the debate that led to the Kiwis site laws. Sometimes it's teams stirring things up or creating a smokescreen, and it can be difficult to establish who's behind it. But in this case, if you discount the Kiwis and their AC-40 that can switch in and out of being a One Design or LEQ-12, there are only 2 teams with LEQ-12s, the Brits and the Italians. So it seems to me that one team wanted the British team hobbled. One other thing of interest is that it seems that this Cup cycle could spell the end of winches on board. With hydraulic rams to control the sheets, there's no need for any drums. From the reconnaissance video footage, it seems that the only time a winch is there is for hoisting the sails.
So what else has been happening? The Kiwis are back on the water with their repaired, strengthened and rebranded AC-40, and now they've got 2. Luna Rossa has been out in the breeze, smoking around in uprange conditions, as they like to say. American Magic have also been out in the breeze, but they also went for a swim after hitting something in the water.
So they were going upwind on starboard tack. They hit a submerged board. As we know here in Pensacola, when it rains a lot, things flow out of the rivers, and they basically hit a log in the water, and it stalled the boat, and the boat rolled over to windward. So no harm to anybody. Patriot's upright and coming back in, and we'll haul her out and get her ready to go yachting again tomorrow.
They were keen to shrug it off, and given how quickly they righted the boat, you can see their point. But nevertheless, that must have brought back a few memories from Auckland. Away from the boats, the site plan for Barcelona has been published, and while the team bases are spread around the harbour a bit, the main cup village is very close to the city side of the action. The match dates in October 2024 have been confirmed as well. And finally, a new cup cycle wouldn't be complete without a new logo. Here you go.